Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer. I'm out on another of my country walks, and today I thought I'm going to try and combine a bit of heritage, landscape and nature all in one. I do try to do that all the time, of course. I'm starting my walk at Newbridge, which is just west of Billingshurst in West Sussex. Newbridge goes over the River Arun, but it also goes over what was once the Arun and Wey Canal. Or is that the Wey and Arun Canal? I always forget which way round, get it? It goes. It's a little wet today, underfoot. It's a beautiful sunny day, and fortunately all that horrible wind that we've had recently has disappeared. But this area here, quite low-lying, and is very much prone to flooding. Anybody who knows the area will be used to seeing brown water and lots of it filling up the fields. There's a great chunk of it here, and often it's almost impassable to go along. So I have got my lovely new boots on, but I'm not going to go terribly far today because it's difficult when you're walking on a canal walk to do a circular walk unless you leave the canal and route round, and I'm not going to on this occasion. I'm just going to go along and see what we've got. First thing I notice along this route, apart from the fact that the water is so high, of course, is the trees. And you've got a selection of different types of trees along here. Seems to be a lot of ash along here, but also alder and willow. And both alder and willow very much like damp and watery places. And I know that the willows, I think I saw on the Wey and Arun website that they actually sell bundles of willow. Not quite sure from where, probably further up at one of the locks where they've been putting the canal back into service, which has been lovely. So maybe I should tell you a little bit about the Wey and Arun Canal. It was formed, I believe, in 1816, and it made possible a route from the River Arun, which comes in at Littlehampton, up to just north of Pulborough at Pallingdon Locks, I think it is, and it joined up the Arun then to the River Wey, which is up at Godalming Way and Godalming Way. And then, so this was cut, really, to join the two together, so it became a route from London, because the Wey joins up to the Thames, down to Littlehampton. And later on, there was at Ford another section of canal that joined the River Arun over to Portsmouth, so that during the early 1800s, it was possible to float cargo inland without having to go round the coast from Portsmouth docks to London, or indeed from Littlehampton on the English Channel. Well, didn't last terribly long, unfortunately, because it opened in 1816, as I said, but it closed again in 1871, and that was really because trains had arrived, there was faster means of transport, and also the need to take stuff inland on the waterways at the slow pace was no longer required. One of the needs was it was built because of the Napoleonic Wars and the threat from France. If you took the goods that you wanted to transport around the coast, because they'd be liable, especially on the English Channel, to raids from the French. So bringing them inland, especially gold bullion, which was also moved, was very important. But once you got past the 1840s and 50s, the train transportation had become pretty much the universal way of doing it. And as ever with so many of the canals, it fell out of use, which is a shame. There's a bridge here for the farmer, really. It's a swing bridge, so it can, if necessary, be raised. But I don't think it's probably ever been raised in the last few years, because unless you're sending some craft up the remnants of the canal now, it's not necessary. And apparently there wasn't a bridge here when the canal was being run. There's a little plaque there that tells you. Now, you may have noticed that, of course, there seems to be two channels of water either side of me. Well, that's true, because this side is the canal, the other side is the River Arun, which winds around. If I turn the camera around this way, you'll see in the background there how it has a circuitous and bizarre route. You know, it's taking the route of least resistance, like all rivers would do. But in order to take advantage of the more direct line, the canal would have been cut to slice off bits of the river. There's a sign, an old Wey and Arun Canal sign. Wey and Arun, I think, is the correct order. It said so on the sign. So 18 miles to the River Wey from this point, and 5 miles where you join the Arun, the River Arun. So that'll give you an indication, I guess, of the length of the canal. 23 miles, if I've got my maths correct. So that's quite interesting. And also it said on there, to Hazel Chowan, a place of kingfishers. I wonder if the kingfishers are still resting, or visiting rather, this part of the river and the canal. Be lovely to see a kingfisher. I haven't got a long enough lens on this camera to zoom in. It's something I need to purchase so I can bring more of the nature. But I was hoping, and I'm still hoping, to see some blackthorn, because the blackthorn is coming into blossom at the moment, and I really can't wait to see some of that and start to see a little bit of colour on these bare trees as we get through March. Just come into a slightly less exposed part here, with the canal this side of me and the river pretty close on the other side of me. A chap called, I think it's JB Dashwood, I'm not sure about the initials, I may have got that wrong. If I've got it wrong, I'll stick it on the screen. He, in 1846, wrote a book. I'll put the title on the screen, but I think it's from the Thames to the Solent, and it charts his journey from the Thames, going onto the River Wey, getting onto the Wey and Arun Canal, and the strange and unusual fun he had working the various lock gates and the locks themselves. And he came down here, down to the River Arun, and I think he went, if I remember rightly, he went down to the coast at Littlehampton and then sailed on this. It wasn't a proper canal boat, it was a tiny little sailing boat which he brought down. Sorry, it's a little slippery here, just navigating some of this mud. And a delightful tale. We read it on my channel Listen with Vobes, And if you do find that channel on YouTube, you can listen to the story. We do these things live, but you can listen to the story, and it unfolds slowly. And yeah, he stopped, funnily enough, where I started, right back at Newbridge, and packed up his boat, left it by the bridge, went into Billingshurst, which is only a couple of miles away, and I forget which of the hotels. There's the Six Bells, I think, and is it the Norfolk Hotel or something? There's a big hotel there, and that's where he stayed the night. And then he resumed his journey with his, I can't remember if he was with a friend or his wife. It's funny, you read these books and you soon forget. Behind me here, we're just coming up to a bridge, beautiful old canal bridge. You see, we don't have very many canal bridges in Sussex. We don't have very many canals in Sussex, which is a shame. The ones that we did have mostly fallen into disuse, and they served very individual purposes. They weren't part of the main thing. There was lots of little canals, but they've, as I say, they were sort of separate canals that did serve one purpose. Whereas, you know, get into the Midlands and they're all connected. But this not only is a bridge, I think, by looking at it from the other side, I'm not sure till we get there, I think it's also a lock. So let's go and have a look. Well, it's a lovely bridge with another walk, another public walk going west. I've been travelling north, as you probably gathered, I guess. But yes, it is a lock. It's Rona Lock. And I know that because there's a little plaque just at the end. But we can get a nice view of the lock here, although unfortunately the lock gates, the actual gates themselves have gone, and there's no way of going through this. I'm hoping that more and more of these locks get put back into operation. I guess they've been tidied up. It would have been, once it was disused, it would have just got clogged up with silt and brambles and goodness knows what. And the volunteers that look after this, who are trying to put more of this back into the landscape, and hopefully at some point in the future have been doing this. They've been doing it, I think, from the 1970s. So it closed in 1871, and then about 100 years later, it did open up with the volunteers. So they started to clear the lock. There was a huge outcry to bring our abandoned canals back into service, back into some use, if not for freight and for business operations, but for leisure. And from, I guess, the 1930s, 40s and 50s is when the leisure industry really started. But I think it's from the 70s that it really took off. And people, of course, enjoy their canal trips all over the country. Sadly not here yet, but we do hope they manage to get it done. I'll leave a link to the Wey and Arun Canal Trust in case you want to find out more information. Well, the wind is getting up now, and I've come to the end of my little video for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a bit different, isn't it? Heritage, landscape, and a little bit of the nature of what's growing here. Didn't see any blackthorn and their blossoms. I did when I drove up here from the van, but we'll go out and we'll start to see more of the landscape and see how nature is springing in to life in the spring as we go onwards into the year. Anyway, so from this lock here, Ronan Lock, thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you here. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe, and become a patron, support what I do, and I'll see you on the next one, and maybe we'll go further afield on another day. Until then, take care. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.